What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of the Shrimp Cocktail Sports Podcast. It's the Major League Baseball season preview podcast. Coming a couple days late, but that's okay. Darren is on a work trip. He's camping outside of Patrick Mahomes' house, so he's not here again. But we got Shrimp and Andy. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. How about you? I just got out of the driving range.
Can't complain. Sports are coming back, so that makes me happy. Shrimp, how you doing? How was your mom's birthday, by the way, yesterday?
It was good.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Mrs. Shrimp. So guys, baseball, it's back. How excited is everybody for baseball?
I absolutely hated baseball. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's just like the one sport I missed more than any of them, to be honest, right now.
It was always something in the summer to watch, and especially now when now there'd be nothing on anyway, but when there was literally nothing on, it was brutal. It was so nice, even just during the spring camp games the Yankees played, to watch those. It's good to have something back, and it's something to take your focus away from just death and sadness.
It is.
Even for a short while. So we're going to start by just talking about some of the rules, new rules for 2020. Then we'll go into our just playoff and award predictions. We'll talk about some teams, talk about some players. Then maybe at the end, we'll get into some other sports stuff. We'll see how we go. Guys, anything else to add? Anything before we get started?
No, I think I'm ready to go.
All right. So for 2020, since it is almost August and the season just started, we can't play the whole 162. We talked about these rules on, I think, our first podcast. We're just going to reiterate some of them. So it's a 60-game shortened season. There's a universal DH. So finally in the National League, there'll be a DH, which I like because then it's better than a pitcher standing there watching 3 strikes go by and going to sit down. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, it is cool, but I always appreciate the National League and the strategy behind that. Switching the pitcher for someone else.
That's fair. It's just, to me, you get those hitters like Bumgarner who could rake, but 9 times out of 10, it's just basically a free out, and I kind of hated that. Yeah, so I agree with the strategy part, though. This came into effect a couple times this weekend, and I saw some players tweeting about it that didn't like it. Extra innings start with a runner on second. I know the Mets lost that way yesterday. Their leadoff, whoever led off the 10th inning just got a base hit and the runner scored. I think they ended up scoring.
It was that beautiful man, Dansby Swanson.
Yes, it was Dansby. What do you guys think of that rule? Are you a fan? Is it too gimmicky? Should it just stay in minor league baseball if you're this year?
No, just stay. It should be in the minor leagues. I mean, it's dumb. I mean, the whole point of it was to speed up the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at this point, we're already 2.5 hours in. So really, what's an extra 45 minutes?
I think especially just for this year, because we're only playing 60 games, they're trying to limit these 17, 18 inning games, which, okay, for this year, I kind of get, but
it depends if it carries over in the next year, I guess.
It shouldn't. For a full 162 game season where there's no pandemic, it absolutely should not.
Yeah, I get it. I get it right now.
Right.
It's 60 games in 67 days.
Do we know? I kind of just thought of this. Is that going to carry into the playoffs, that rule? So, if the Yankees go into an extra inning game in the playoffs and whoever they're playing, they start with a runner on second?
Yeah, I would imagine.
I don't like that for the playoffs. I think they should dump that.
Yeah.
Shrimp, you okay? You dying? Do we need to call somebody?
Well, I was on mute from the OBS, and nobody could have heard that, so good job pointing that out.
You're welcome. So yeah, that's the one gimmicky rule that I don't really like. Another rule for pitchers is a 3-batter minimum for starters and relief pitchers. Unless they finish the inning, then they can come out. No spitting because germs. Pitchers can't lick their fingers. They can carry a small wet rag, and they have to take their own rosin bag to and from the mound for every half inning. I don't remember which Yankee it was, but one of the pitchers was coming off the mound in the summer camp game against the Mets at Citi Field. And got to the third baseline, had to turn around, go back and get his rosin bag.
How about the game on Friday night? Sorry, with Rizzo, he was giving the hand sanitizer to someone.
I love Anthony Rizzo. That was so funny. It's
fantastic.
I guarantee you, other players are carrying sanitizer in their pocket. Just Rizzo was the only one who got caught on camera. It was funny though.
Yeah,
it was a lighthearted moment out of you got to laugh. You got to make the best out of it. Stadiums have to provide expanded dugout and bullpen space. Lineup cards are submitted by a mobile app, which I think is pretty cool, instead of a pregame exchange. The schedule is regionally based, so you play your division and your league's opposite division. So the National League East plays the American League East. You have 40 division games, 20 interleague games. August 31st is the trade deadline. The injury list is either 10 or 45 days. Testing will be twice a day. A temperature check will be twice a day. And then a COVID test every other day. And blood testing, I guess, which is more accurate, once a month. I want to go back to the expanded dugout and bullpen space. Andy, did you watch the Yankees when they played the summer camp game at Citi Field?
Yeah.
Did you see what the Mets did they built it was one of those wedding tents behind each dugout?
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
No. They did the same thing in Fenway too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, why
spreading it out?
Why you got to use the seats for something?
Right. So if they're there, they can. I remember the Mets. They had caution tape on seats that they kept them 6 feet apart. So stuff like that. I think that's a good idea. I remember Max Scherzer last night during the Yankee game was sitting in the Delta Club at Nationals Park. So that's how they're keeping people apart. But no, it seems like the teams they had a pretty good grasp on that thing. I think the testing issue is still a problem because I remember Soto supposedly had a negative test, but there was some controversy around that as they weren't sure. But that should come out today, whether for his negative test for sure. But yeah, any other thoughts on those rules before we get into the big one?
No, I think I'm all good.
Shrimp, any thoughts? You too busy sending salamander pictures in our chat?
I got nothing.
Busy eating roast beef sandwiches.
Yeah, Shrimp, we have a Discord chat so we can see Shrimp puts off our timestamps, and he's just sending pictures of salamanders in, trying to get us to laugh as we go.
That was meant to be a secret.
No, well, I leaked it. Congratulations. So the big news came out a couple days ago that the MLB is going to expand the playoffs just for this season. There's going to be 16 teams, so it's going to be like the NBA and NHL playoffs. So the division winners for each league get seeded 1 through 3. The second place teams in the divisions get seeded 4 through 6, and there'll be 2 wild card teams at 7 and 8. So theoretically, a third place team could win the World Series.
That's definitely possible,
especially in a short season like this.
Yeah.
There's going to be the wild card round, which is the 1 seed versus the 8 seed, 2 versus 7, so on and so forth. It's bracketed after that, going into the division series and championship series. So the division series will be the winner of 1 versus 8 and 5 versus 4, and then 3-6 versus 2-7, and then the championship series and the World Series are normal. The wild card round is best of 3. It limits a travel day, and then the division series is best of 5 as usual, and the LCS and World Series are best of 7. Guys, especially for a season this short, I like this expanded playoff. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a great idea. I mean, there's no reason not to expand the playoffs for this year. They're doing this next year too, right?
No, I think it's just for this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like it. It gives us more baseball. It just depends on whether or not we get that far. We'll talk about that at the end. But I like it. It gives us more baseball. It'll extend the season a little bit, give people something to watch. It's going to be exciting too. It gives teams maybe middle of the road teams I would probably say the Indians, who are probably going to finish 3rd in the Central. Hey, we have a shot now. We get something to play for versus just play 60 games. We get to go home again.
Yeah, I mean, ever since they installed the 1-game wild card game, teams have gotten snubbed, like the Pirates did, from 2014 to 16. Never finished first in their division. Always played in the wild card game and lost.
Right. So yeah, that was the big news. I like that. I think it's good for baseball, especially this year. Guys, any other thoughts on the new rules, the playoff, anything else, the salamanders, whatever we got?
No, the NL.
We're gonna see a lot of different teams getting hot in these playoffs.
The DH is hitting in the NL, and the playoff situation definitely spices everything up. I could have sworn I was having this discussion with you that I heard this was regarded as the champion season instead of the regular season, but I only heard that once and never again because of how short it is. I don't remember, but it was from an ESPN show. I forgot the name.
I've never heard that, so I think Strip, you might have dreamed it up.
I
Shrimp.
definitely heard it somewhere because I thought they were explaining it like, well, it's not a regular season because it's not a regular season. Like, you can't just the 2020, no, it's not 2021. It's football. It's not the 2020 regular season. It's the 2020 championship season. But nonetheless, baseball's back.
Yeah, I mean. Yes, it's hard not to call it the regular season since it was out of everyone's control.
Let's go Mets.
No, let's not go Mets. They went Mets pretty early on. They were a strike away yesterday from winning their second game against the Braves, and they gave up a home run, and the Braves won in 10.
I love them. I love them so much.
Michael Conforto's had a couple. He was 3 for 3 yesterday. He's giving me a ton of fantasy points.
Really?
Yeah, he's at a good start.
Oh, wait, what are they doing about fantasy baseball? Like, so say you drafted Juan Soto.
There's a couple extra, I think, injury list spots. So I'm doing mine on ESPN. I can probably look right now, but so I know there's a bunch of injury list spots. So if somebody gets hurt or gets sick, you could put them on there. I think it just depends on where you do it. Scoring wise, we're just doing total points for the season. So we're not doing head-to-head matchups since the season's so short. It'd be like 6 games. We're just doing, all right, so I have 800 points through the end of the season. I finished 5th. Our top 4 point getters will go to the playoffs. The first one gets a bye to the championship round in first place, and then 2 through 4 have a 1 week kind of whoever can get the most points, and then they go to the championship game. Or round.
I'm actually interested in like what they're gonna do about COVID with fantasy football.
Yeah, so we have 3 injury list spots. So you can move 3 guys who are hurt into the injury list spot, and you won't lose a roster spot. Basically, you can pick somebody up and drop them off, and then drop them later if you need to.
Okay.
Let me see what else we got. Okay, that's it for rules. You guys want to get into some? We'll talk about some teams, get into some predictions for some awards in the playoffs.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
All right, so I think we'll start with the Yankees because we're all Yankee fans here that are on the podcast. Darren's not here, so we don't have to talk about the Orioles, who are terrible. So the Yankees last year were 103-59. They won the American League East pretty handily. They lost in the ALCS to the Astros. Jose Altuve had a walk-off home run in Game 6 to knock the Yankees out. Their big addition this year is Garrett Cole, who was 20-5 last year at a 2.50 ERA. Signed a 9-year, $324 million deal, which is the highest deal ever for a pitcher. They also extended Brett Gardner an extra year and extended Aroldis Chapman for an extra year. Andy, the Yankees have to be clear-cut the best team in the American League, I would think.
Oh my God, it's not even close. It's not even close. Even with their beat up rotation right now.
That's the thing. Like last year with the Yankees is what made me nervous. I was surprised they didn't make a move at the deadline for pitching. If there's a Achilles heel for the Yankees, I still think it's pitching, even though they have even though it's top heavy with Garrett Cole and those guys. Like Paxton last night he looked really bad. And to be fair to Paxton, he had a great finish last year. He was probably an all-star in the second half of the season, and then the bullpen wasn't very good either. The Yankees gave up 9 runs last night. So it's 2 games into a 60-game season, but to me, that's the Achilles heel for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they sent Montgomery down.
I think they can call up basically pretty liberally this year just because there's no minor league baseball. I think they have a list of guys who are all right, stay by your phone. If we need you, we're going to call you. But no, I agree.
But like Lasagna's starting today. Why is Monty down there?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Aaron Boone.
Yeah.
My dad gets really frustrated with Aaron Boone and his pitching decisions. I remember last year in the playoffs, he got upset because some of the moves he made because he's, I guess, pretty analytical, Boone, and my dad hates that.
That's the whole reason why the Yankees hired him.
Right, I know. It's just that's the way baseball's going. I have no problem with that, but
yeah, I mean, why not use all the information you have?
Analytics win games until you have to explain them. That's how that works. That's legitimately how that works. If it becomes a mind game for the players, they're going to go, it's all mental. Baseball's the most mentally taxing sport because it's like a chess game. I mean, football, you can argue, but a lot of football,
every sport's mental.
Oh, no, I get that. But like football, a lot of the mental is the plays. It's very much like baseball. Baseball, it's every pitch. And I'm not making a good point with this, but what my point is, analytics are very useful until you start explaining them because they get in the player's head.
Right.
I mean, it's all good, but you just got to find the right manager or coach who's going to use the information to help him instead of letting the information make decisions for him.
You have to find the happy medium of using and mixing analytics with I'm thinking it in hockey terms because that's what I follow pretty much closest, is you have to find the perfect mix of analytics and the eye test. So you got to be able to look and see, okay, this guy's doing this, but is Corsi, whatever the hell, is this. You can't use. I don't think you can use analytics strictly by itself because I think there's flaws in that logic. But I also don't think you can use the eye test strictly as a barometer to judge a player. I think you have to figure out a good mix.
Yeah.
I remember there was the Rangers were playing in I'm going on hockey again, but the Rangers were playing in Vegas early in the season. I don't remember when it was, and we won 5-0. But like I was listening to podcasts and then they were talking about how they were pissed that we won 5-0. It was like the worst 5-0 win because the expected goal, whatever was for the Knights was a 7. And I'm like, okay, but we won. Like I know it wasn't like we won 5-0. I know there's some underlying, and I think the stats showed some underlying issues with our defense that are still there, but you won 5-0. What are you complaining about? I don't. That's the kind of thing that drives me crazy.
It's just no one's happy until the analytics proven right.
Right, and I think that's why the analytics nerds have the hardest time because, like, the hardcore analytics nerds that want that to be the only, the biggest barometer. I don't think that's a thing you can do right now.
Not yet, anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so. But yeah, back to baseball and back to the Yankees. Is there any chance Severino comes back this year, or is he shut? He's not pitching.
Yeah, no, because he had Tommy John. No way.
He's not coming back this year.
Right, so he's done. Okay.
But the real question is Domingo Germán.
Yeah. So he was suspended for what was it, 80? He didn't come back this year. It was 80 games, right?
Yeah.
So he was suspended 80 games for domestic violence, and he also posted something really cryptic on Instagram saying people thought he was retiring. It was really, it was odd. It was odd. That's just a weird situation. He's clearly not a great person, seeing as what he was suspended for, but it would help the bullpen, as kind of crappy as that sounds, me saying, if he came back, but...
I mean, if they're that bad, I'd like to see Devi Garcia coming out of the pen.
I agree. I'd rather see Garcia versus Germán. Germán, I remember, struggled too last year.
Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't in the right place last year, I would say.
No. But yeah, Garrett Cole, the first night, complete game, 1 hitter. Awesome, even though it was 5 innings.
Yeah. Complete game's a complete game.
That's such par for the course in 2020 that we finally get baseball back, or a mainstream North American sport, and the first game goes 5 innings because God decides to unleash apocalyptic level rain.
How about Max Scherzer's stat line? 11 Ks with what? 4 runs?
4 runs and 4 hits.
Oh my God.
Well, Cole had the 1 hit and it was a home run. That was the only run. He was very good. That's why I picked him to win the Cy Young, but we'll get into that later. You got anything else to add about the Yankees? Are we got that pretty much covered?
Oh, we're good with them.
All right. How about this? We'll go by division winners next. Who'd you pick? So we both picked the Yankees clearly. We all picked the Yankees to win the AL East, right? Who did you guys pick to win the Central?
I believe I had... the Twins.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about the Twins then a little bit. So they come in off a 101 and 61 record from last year. They were the AL Central champs, and the Yankees swept them in the ALCS. They broke the home run record. They hit 307 last year. It was talked about. I watched them a couple days ago, and it got brought up like 17 times. They also added Josh Donaldson at third for 4 years and 84 mil. So they're going to be a pretty formidable team again. I did not pick them to win the Central, though. I picked the White Sox. I'm buying into that hype.
Oh yeah, with Edwin Encarnacion, Jose Abreu.
Yeah, I think the White Sox they were decent. I mean, the record doesn't show it last year. I think they finished 17 under 500, but they were okay. They added Yasmani Grandal. They added Dallas Keuchel and Gio Gonzalez and Edwin Encarnacion. I think their rotation actually looks pretty good. They did lose Michael Kopech, who's a pitcher. He opted out of the season, but with Giolito too, I think that rotation is pretty good. Plus the lineup up and down is pretty deep. Like they can hit. They were raking the first 2 games against the Twins.
It just feels like they're just like another year or two away. I don't know what it is about them to me.
I think that's fair. I think maybe in a 162 game season, I would pick them for a wild card spot. But since it's a 60 gamer, why not?
If they were able to land Machado or Harper,
then
absolutely they're ready now.
I think they're a playoff team possibly right now, maybe. I just don't know if they're a championship contender. I think that might be on the 2 year true off. Is that what you were kind of talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think we're on the same page there. But just because I tried to think a little outside the box in what I picked for playoffs this year just because it's so weird. So that's why I kind of picked the White Sox to win the division just because it's a shorter season.
That's fair.
So what do you like about the Twins, Andy, as your AL Central champs?
I just like how scrappy they are as a team. You know, the home runs. I like their manager too. It feels a little more complete to me, the White Sox.
I think that's fair. So that might be one of the main differences we have in division winners. AL West, the Astros.
Yeah.
Astros.
Yeah. As much as pretty much everybody hates them now, their biggest loss was Garrett Cole. Other than that, they have
still the same team.
They have everybody back, and they're still really, really good.
This is the team that still won the 2017 World Series.
Right, and they were a game away from winning it last year.
Yeah.
So, hey, at least this year, since there's no fans, you'll be able to hear the trash cans if they're still doing it. So I know that there's no fighting or anything like that allowed. They'll be really, really strict this year if there's anything like that. Do you think there'll be any kind of fallout from the scandal this season or anything with guys?
Didn't Springer just get beamed?
Springer just got beamed.
A couple of Altuve got hit, I think, too, but I don't think it's been intentional because, I mean, they do play the Dodgers this season, so I think maybe that might get a little bit feisty. But I think if they were playing like a full season and there were fans, I think there would be some brouhahas with the Astros this year. I don't know if this year.
They would absolutely crumble.
Right. I think it'll be much tamer this year because of the pandemic and everything going on.
All right. It's always next year.
Right.
People don't forget.
And then, so for the West, I think I had 3 teams in this division making the playoffs. I had the A's because they were a good team last year. They had I think they have everybody back. So I had them coming in second, and then I have the Angels winning the wild card. Not because they have a new manager. They have Joe Madden, who's a great manager. Plus, they have Trout is officially going to play, and they added Anthony Rendon. Ohtani's coming back. I think the Angels can finish third this year and get a wild card spot. I don't know if in a normal season they'd win a wild card, but I think the way the playoffs are going to be this year, I think they'll get in.
Yeah, I like what the Angels are doing over there. You know.
And then I think what was my second wild card? I don't remember. Oh,
definitely like the A's.
No, I had the Rays coming in second. What was my other wild card in the American League in the East? Great podcasting. Oh, the Indians. I picked the Indians. I think they're going to finish third. I think they'll be good enough to get in the playoffs.
I can see it. Yeah, you know, weak, kind of a borderline AL Central.
Yeah, that Central division is. I mean, other than the Twins and the White Sox, the bottom 3, the Tigers and Royals are both going to be really bad. They both had 100 losses last year. The Royals have a new manager, so I think if the Indians don't beat both of the teams out, I think something went very wrong. So I think they'll be able to get that third wild card spot.
I could kind of see the Blue Jays sneaking that spot.
You read my mind. I was just about to bring up the Blue Jays. They had a couple. Their young guys looked really good in the first 2 games against Tampa. They've split. So I very well could see them maybe sneaking up ahead of the Red Sox in the AL East and maybe grabbing a wild card because the Red Sox, I don't think there's a lot there this year. Do you guys?
It's just, they're such a funny team. I mean, they still have some of the bones from the 2018 season. It's just, their rotation is just
Their rotation is not very good.
nothing.
I mean, Sale was not good last year. He struggled. They obviously lose David Price, who actually opted out of the season anyway. And then they trade Mookie Betts, who's like a top 5 at least player in baseball. And then the rest of the rotation it's Sale, Eduardo Rodriguez, Nathan Eovaldi, and Martin Perez, who got lit up by the Orioles yesterday. So who's the ace of that staff? It's Eovaldi, right?
Yeah, he got the day 1 start.
Yeah,
I do think things would be very different for them this season if Alex Cora was still there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's as much as people don't like Alex Cora because of the stuff that went on with the Astros and then the Red Sox with the sign stealing. He was a good manager. I mean, actually, you never know. It could have just been the sign stealing.
I think they wind up keeping Mookie too with him there.
Who, LA?
No, the Red Sox.
You mean not Mookie? They traded him. What are you talking about?
I know. I'm saying Mookie would. I could see Mookie staying in Boston if Cora was still there.
There was Cora. Okay, sorry, I misunderstood you. Okay, I think that's a fair opinion. Their lineup to me is also just other than JD Martinez and Bogarts. I like Benintendi. Other than that, their lineup's very underwhelming.
You never know with Devers.
Yeah, but even so, like there's not a lot, and I'm not just saying this as a Yankee fan. There's not a lot with the Red Sox that really scares me, to be totally honest, as an opponent.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to pitching. They literally do not have.
Right. They don't, and I think that's going to be a big issue, especially when they have to play the Yankees and the Blue Jays and the Rays, however many times they have to, and those teams can hit. So it'll be interesting to see with the Red Sox. And then I want to talk about the Rays because I really like the Rays. I think after last year, they actually almost came back to beat the Astros in the division series. They were the wild card. They were wild card 2 in the American League. They had 96 wins. They lost in 5. I think the Rays, with their bullpen healthy and their starting rotation pretty healthy, I think the Rays can make a run. I don't think they're going to beat I don't think they're going to beat the Yankees in the division, but I think as a second, I think they're going to finish second. As a second place team, I think they can do damage in the playoffs.
I definitely see second place, and they are just. It's just good to see them finally getting back to form, like back from 2000.
Well, since 2008 when they went to the World Series, they haven't been like really bad. They've been good. They've had playoff teams. It's just they haven't been able to get back to the ALCS or the World Series, and I think that this year could change that.
Yeah, with the short season, like you did.
Right, and with their closer Emilio Pagan, he had a 2.31 ERA last year. That bullpen's really deep. Plus, they have a healthy like Blake Snell is Tyler Glass now, and Charlie Morton, who's older, but he still had a really good year last year. It's a good top 3 of your rotation. I am very high on the Rays going into this year.
I'm still in shock, honestly. The Pirates pulled off that trade for Chris Archer.
They didn't need to either. The Pirates weren't in a place to compete, which I was surprised.
Yeah, no, that made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Rays when it gets to our playoff predictions, our league champion and World Series predictions. I want to one more thing about the Blue Jays, which I think the Canadian government kind of screwed them a little bit because they waited till July 18th to tell them that they couldn't play in Canada, like a week less than before the season was supposed to start. I thought that was kind of I didn't like that by the Canadian government. I think when they were talking about the baseball coming back, they should have said, look, if this happens, you're not playing here. I think they had to scramble. I think it ended up figuring it out, but I don't think it was.
They didn't really go about it the right way.
No, I think the Canadian government mishandled it very much so. So they were looking to play in Pittsburgh, and Pennsylvania said, no, that's not happening. Baltimore said no, but there will be the Buffalo Blue Jays this season. They're playing at their AAA affiliates' home stadium for most of their home games. So they have a home.
I wish they were fans. I would love to see Buffalo fans at a baseball game.
Just jumping through tables in the park.
Oh yeah. maybe they'll design some nests and jump through those.
Maybe. You never know with Buffalo fans. They're insane because there's not much going for them up there with the Bills. And
at least they got the win.
Whoa. What do you mean there's not much going up there for them and the Bills? Did you not see this team this offseason?
Yes, congratulations. They're still not going to win the AFC East.
They have a much better chance, and they are 100% clinching the wild card. There's no other team that competes.
Shrimp just gave the Bills the kiss of death, so congratulations on their last place finish in the AFC.
Hey, Buffalo and your fans, Mafia. All my predictions come correct. You should see my postseason predictions for the MLB that Jake is omitting on purpose.
No, we're skipping Shrimps because they're terrible. One last American League point I want to talk about is just the Rangers. They opened a new park. It's inside. It's indoors with a trackable roof. 40,000 people. $1.2 billion. Globe Life Park. Brand new stadium. That's the last main point in the American League I wanted to touch on.
Best are the memes going around of that stadium looking like the tinfoil case.
It looks weird. It looks like it's bizarre looking. I don't know why. To me, it just looks so weird.
It looks level and low, I believe.
Yeah, it's like the backstop. I think if I was watching the right game, it looks weird. I don't like it.
Did it catch on fire for a second?
No, that was Citi Field. Citi Field caught on fire again. Twice. That's happened twice. Looking at their backstop in there's no wall like a typical Major League home stadium. It's their seats, and it just looks bizarre. It looks like a fish tank to me, like with people in it. As dumb as that might sound.
I mean, I don't know how the Rangers could possibly build such a stadium, given that there is Jerry World very close to them.
I don't know. I don't think the Cowboys had any say, but yeah, I get that.
I'm just saying, like you're competitive with building a stadium that's as nice as AT&T.
Agreed. So, do you guys have any other American League points before we jump to the NL?
Nope.
All right, so we'll start with the NL East. Andy, who'd you pick to win the American League, National League East?
I had the Nationals.
Okay,
the Mets.
Interesting. No, I have the Nationals. I don't think I have the Nationals in the playoffs. I think I had them missing it. Yeah, I did. I have the Braves winning the NL East. I think there's just a ton back. Especially with, I think adding Cole Hamels to like help their rotation is big. I just think they're going to be too good for the other NL teams to be. I had the Phillies coming in second, so I have them as in the playoffs with Bryce Harper and those guys, because like last year the Phillies started out pretty hot. They were 33-27. So this year, if they played 60 games last year, they would have been a wild card team. Plus bringing in Joe Girardi, who's a great manager, and adding Didi, who's raked so far.
2 homers right now.
Yeah. I think the Phillies will be better. I don't think they're going to win the division, but I think they'll make this expanded playoff. I just think the Nationals lost too much from last year. I think adding Strasburg helps, re-signing Strasburg, but they also had Zimmerman, who's like the face of like their best player in franchise history, opted out. Joe Ross opted out. I don't think there's enough there for the Nationals. Just to be totally honest, I could be wrong because they were in last place last year on my birthday and won the World Series. So
all about when you get hot, but losing Randon was pretty big for them too.
Right, and then
lost.
I also have the Mets in the playoffs. I have them with that third place finish, getting a wild card. I think their rotation being as good as it is with DeGrom, I think adding Betances helps. Waka and Porcello on the staff helps. Plus, the Mets can hit. Pete Alonso's still really good. Conforto, like I said, has had a good start. I think the Mets will do. It's like the Angels. I think the Mets will do enough to make the playoffs in this expanded season.
If there's anything that benefits most from a short season in the universal DH, it's probably the Mets.
It's the Mets. It's absolutely the Mets. And I think as long as they can put runs together, like they scored 2 runs in their first 2 games. If they can score runs, I think they'll be in the playoffs, no problem. But it's the Mets, and that's been their biggest issue is their pitchers get like DeGrom and Syndergaard get left out to dry. They get 1 run of run support and get a no decision because the Mets can't drive anything in.
Just typical Mets.
Typical Mets. The NL Central to me is interesting because I think there's 4 teams that can legitimately win that division. I think the Pirates are kind of out of luck, unfortunately. Andy, who'd you pick to win the NL Central?
Cardinals.
I picked the Cincinnati Reds. I think the Reds with they added Sonny Gray. I think they added Mike Moustakas, who's had a couple good games to start. I think Joey Votto has been pretty good. I think the Reds are going to win the division.
I'd like to see what Trevor Bauer does over there.
Right, and I think adding him is big. I think who did I finish second in that division? I had the Brewers finishing second in that division, and the Cubs getting the wild.
I love. They're just so much fun.
Council's a very good manager for the Brewers, and Yelich and those guys. It's a good team, and I think with the expanded playoffs, I think they're going to get that second place. I think they'll finish third too. That division could go either way because I mean, like looking at this now, I think I have the Cardinals in fourth place, and I just don't. It's weird. Like those 3 teams, the Reds, the Brewers, 4 teams, the Reds, Brewers, and Cubs and Cardinals. Realistically, those could be 1 to 4 in my opinion in any order. I just put what I kind of thought because those teams I think are all really close. That's the tightest division this year.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best divisions in baseball as of right now. One of them. I mean,
one of the tightest.
Yeah.
And then the NL West. Is there any debate that the Dodgers are going to win that division? Anyone? Nobody?
No.
Yeah, that is the Dodgers division to lose. It's really, in my opinion, the Dodgers World Series to lose. I think they're the best team up and down with their rotation, even though David Price opted out, but their lineup is just so nasty up and down. I think they're the best team. I think especially with the shortened season, it's their World Series to lose.
That's fair. I mean, when's Kershaw expected to come back?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's anything. He said yesterday, it was on the bottom line, I was watching the Cubs and the Brewers, that he isn't expected to be a long-term thing. So it's not like he's going to miss like 3 weeks, but he'll be back. Even without him, the Dodgers are just so locked and loaded and have a ton.
It's the good old bat. They're good old bats, you know. They carry them right now.
They have the reigning MVP on their roster. They added Mookie Betts, who won the MVP 2 years ago. There's just so much there, and I don't think anybody in the NL, let alone the majors, is going to touch the Dodgers. Their rotation it's Maeda, Urias, Kershaw, Woodhead, Price in there if he didn't opt out. Their bullpen is pretty good. They have Jock, Muncy, Turner, Cody Bellinger, the MVP, plus throw Mookie in there. There's nobody in the National League that's better than the Dodgers. It's not close.
Yeah, no.
I think the Padres could compete maybe for one of those third place finishes or the second place spot. Do I have them in second place? Yes, I have them in second place, the Padres, but they're not going to be close. I think the Dodgers are just so good.
Yeah, this is going to be at least, what do you think, maybe 7-game difference maybe between the Dodgers?
Yeah, I think the Dodgers are just going to be 60 games. They'll win probably 40, I would say, minimum. They'll probably 40 and 20 is probably my ceiling for the Dodgers. Or floor, excuse me. As the Dodgers win 20 and miss the playoffs because everybody gets hurt now that I said that. But that pretty much covers the National League. Andy, anything else? Shrimp, you got anything?
Nope.
All right, let's jump into some playoff talk. So we kind of went over our division winners and our second place finishers. Andy, who do you have coming out of both leagues?
I have the Yankees and the Dodgers.
Okay. Those are the 2 best teams I think on paper in both leagues. Okay. I wanted to go a little out of the box with mine. I have the Dodgers because I'm going to say it now. I think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. I think they're the best team. I have Tampa coming out of the American League for the reasons I said.
Is that Pete?
Yeah, our buddy Pete, he's a big Rays fan. He'll be happy I said that.
He won't be listening.
I think with the what?
Nah, go ahead.
I think with their rotation and their bullpen being as good as it is, I think with their lineup being as solid as it is all around, I think they can make some noise. And I think with the shortened season, I'm not sure I think the heavyweights might knock each other out, the Yankees and Astros, or just kind of be a little worn down. I think I'm going to pick the Rays to come out of the American League. There's going to be something. So I didn't want to go with like total chalk and pick the Yankees and Dodgers. I'm going to go with Tampa as the second place team in the American League East.
That's fair. In a playoff series, the Rays usually do play very tough against the Yankees.
Yeah. So like if they matched up, I think the Rays would probably be the best of the non-division winners. Right. So they'll be the 4 seed. So realistically, they could play the Yankees or the Astros in the division series again. They could beat, especially with the sort of season as it's been, if everybody's healthy, they could beat either of those teams. And if they knock the Yankees or the Astros out, I mean, they're probably going to have to. They might play one of them in the ALCS again. But then that team is coming off a series against Chicago or against the Twins, and I don't know. I think it's set up for the Rays this year. I think they have a really good shot, so that's why I'm picking them.
That's fair.
And then World Series winners, who do you guys have? Do you guys pick? You guys both have the Yankees and Dodgers, so who'd you guys pick?
Picking the Yankees.
Picking the Yankees. Shrimp, you pick the Yankees too?
Picking the Yankees.
All right, I'm going to pick LA. I think, like we just said, I think up and down their lineup, I think with their rotation, I think they're the best team in baseball. So I think they're going to be the favorites, and I think they're going to win the World Series.
I would like to think that our bullpen is better than their bats.
The Yankees?
Yeah, I would like to say that or think that.
I would too. It's just, especially after last year and earlier this year, it still makes me a little uneasy. The Yankees bullpen, and I think they're going to have to try and do something, maybe add an arm there. Chapman coming back would help, but if the Yankees do something at the deadline or before the year ends, I think that will help. But so we're basically, I think everybody picked the Dodgers, right? So everyone has a pretty unanimous NL winner, and I was the only one who got adventurous in the American League.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Now we're gonna get into some awards. So MVPs, I'll go first. I have Alex Bregman from the Astros winning the MVP. He was close last year. I think he's bound for another really good year. And in a shortened season, I think he'll win it. And I picked Christian Yelich of the Brewers to win the NL MVP again. He's just unbelievable. And he would have won it last year again too if he didn't get hurt. Andy, what do you have for your MVPs?
I have Mike Trout and Christian Yelich.
All right, so we agree on the NL MVP. I could see Trout again. He's just so good.
He's just the best player in baseball. This is not even close.
All right, so Shrimp doesn't get to pick because
Cam Newton,
his selections
as long
are.
as it's not an Astros player. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
so
not Cam Newton. Cam Newton, however you spells his name.
He wrote it in the weird font on our Google Docs. So
that's
clearly
the joke.
Shrimp.
But seriously, it's LeMahieu and Yelich.
LeMahieu last night, his first 2 hits, he's got him base the first 2 at bats. He drove in a run. I love him. He's so good.
John Carlo also looked good.
He's been good.
He hit that bomb last night.
It was 490 almost. It was a nuke. Like he's been the bright spot he's been the brightest spot for the Yankees so far. Like even in the summer camp games, he's looked really good. He's leaner. He's not as big. He's like they said. Joe Buck said last night on the broadcast, he's back in the shape he was when he won the MVP with the Marlins.
But in all fairness, I mean, he has so much experience hitting out of the Nationals Park.
No, that's true, but still, especially if he could keep it up. I remember Michael Kay said when they were playing the Phillies at home, the no fans and him not getting booed, could that help him kind of thing? Because they're not going to pipe in boos every time he strikes out. So maybe that'll help his mental kind of focus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but he hasn't heard boos in like 2 years.
Oh, he got booed last year.
Sure, we played, but I guess the games he did play.
Gary Sanchez, the first 2 games just looked brutal for the Yankees. I think he's like 0 for 9, 0 for 10.
Gary.
He's not had a good time at the plate.
No, and then
defensively, he's
almost he's almost a liability back there.
I'm gonna have a Yankee take. I would rather have Clint Frazier start over Brett Gardner.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know what the point was to bring Gardner back for 1 year.
I would like If he's coming back on a 1-year deal, he is. I would like Gardner to be in the Tauchman role of coming off the bench every few days, giving somebody a rest. I think Frazier should be in one of the outfield spots. You could put Hicks in left, you could put Hicks in center, and put Clinton left. I don't really care because Judge has right field locked down. I just think
it's time for them to do something with Clint Frazier.
Yeah, either trade him or play him. Something's got to give. Like,
I mean, they've held on to him for so long. It's just, I don't know.
I wouldn't be opposed to the Yankees trying to trade Gardner at some point this year, just to like maybe a team who needs a utility outfielder. Like, I wouldn't hate that, especially because I think Clint Frazier's a better player. He can hit. I think he's a better fielder. I just think he's and he's younger because I don't know. Gardner's old too, and I don't know. I love Brett Gardner, but I think it might be time for the Yankees to make a change. Even Tauchman had a good year last year. I just don't. I don't think Brett Gardner should be the everyday starter for the Yankees.
It makes no sense.
And the last award we'll talk about is Cy Young. Andy, what do you got?
Garrett Cole, and then I also have Max Scherzer.
Oh, Scherzer. Okay, I didn't even think of Scherzer. I also have Garrett Cole as the American League Cy Young winner, and then I have Clayton Kershaw in the National League. I think he's just so dominant. I think he'll win it again, especially because I think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. I think he will be an integral part.
I don't see anyone in the AL really giving Garrett Cole a run for his money in that Cy Young.
No, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody in the American League who would give Cole a run for his money. I'm trying to run through the teams quick. Verlander, maybe.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I don't think Ohtani would win the Cy Young for the Angels. Yeah, I think Cole. I think as of right now, I think at least Cole is probably the clear front runner in the American League. The National League, I think, is more wide open. I just picked Kershaw because I'm very high on the Dodgers. So
I absolutely love Mad Max.
I do too. I like Scherzer a lot. He was very candid. They interviewed him during the game last night. He was very candid. I like Scherzer a lot.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
But with that, anybody got anything else?
No.
Baseball? Anything? No baseball wise? Shrimp has no more hot takes that don't make any sense?
I mean, I have my Cy Young winners.
No, you don't get to read them because they're terrible.
So my AL was Cy Young, and my NL was the dog from Air Bud.
I mean, it is 2020.
And on that note, we will wrap up the end of the podcast.
The dog from Air Bud.
So basically, oh man. But yeah, Shrimp's right. I think we're gonna wrap it up with our baseball preview. So we're gonna see. It's a sprint this year, not a marathon. So it'll be interesting. It's gonna be different, but it's fun, and it's happy to have sports back. Next week, I think we're gonna talk a ton about hockey because those games start Tuesday night with the exhibition games, and the playoffs start next weekend. I think we'll have those picks, plus we'll have some other sports news that pops up.
We'll have the NBA start too.
We'll have the NBA. We'll talk a little more about Jamal Adams next week. We'll just push it off because this one went a little bit long. Guys, any last minute thoughts?
I'm all set.
All right, then for Andy and Shrimp and Darren, who's camping outside Pat Mahomes' house. This is our MLB preview, so we'll see if any of us are close to our predictions. I'm kind of worried the Rays are going to finish like 5th in the American League East now and not make the playoffs after I said they're going to make the World Series. So we'll see. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.